We're recording now. So, first thing for your personal challenge speeches, make certain that you have all three parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. Now, speaking of the introduction, just about everybody in the class did not start with your attention getting. You just about everybody said, my name is Rhonda, and I'm going to be talking about my personal challenge today. That is not an appropriate introduction. It's no introduction at all, because the introduction starts with your introduction starts with your attention getting material. Okay. So always remember that. You're going to try, like, that's going to be your natural instinct to reveal the topic first. But remember, a good speech starts with the attention getting material. So whatever that is. Now, I have put some attention getting devices in Blackboard in week 3. Go in there and look at them. This is going to be helpful to you, not only for your introduction, but for your closing remarks. Because, as I said to you in a lot of your comments, the closing remarks need to refer back to your introduction. Okay, it needs to tie in. We're going to go over this and go over this, but the one thing I want you to keep in your mind about a speech, it is not a story, number one, because many people did just want to tell me a story as well. Okay, you just have to make certain that you have all of these parts to your speech, and it's not a paper. It's not an essay. It's not something that you can go back and revisit because you missed something. So as the creator, the developer, the strategic individual who makes these speeches, okay, you have to remember that. I need to keep this stuff in my listeners' minds. Okay, so you are going to repeat things. You're going to find repetition is key in a speech, as it would not be if you were writing a paper. Okay. Main points and central ideas. We're going to talk about this today in a little brief lecture about it. You must have only one distinct idea. Many of you are trying to give me 2 and 3 ideas, and we're going to show you how that works. Okay, because it can be a little confusing at first by me just saying that, but once I show you, I think you will understand. And for people who did it in their speeches, I tried to show you where you had 2 ideas. Okay, and I'm hoping that everyone is looking at the comments that I'm giving you, because that's how you're going to improve. You're going to find in this class, okay, I'm going to grade you on how well you improved. Are you still doing the same thing on day 10 that you did on day 1? If you are, your grade's going to reflect that. But if you stepped outside of your comfort zone and followed my recommendations and improved on your ability and your skills to develop a speech strategically, then you're going to do well in this class. So you might not have started out well, but when I see that improvement, it's going to reflect in your grade. So that's what I'm looking for. Have you improved at all? Or are you still doing the same thing on the last day that you were doing on the first day? Because you're comfortable with that. That's the way you want to do it. And you're just going to continue on to do that. You haven't learned anything if that's the case. Okay, so I want you to be mindful of that. So you can start off not so great, but eventually you should move towards greatness in this class with your speaking abilities. And all of you have it in you to at least have the basics down of how a speech is developed. Okay. Another thing, you want to let the audience know that you're coming to a close. So in that conclusion, you're going to say something like in closing, in conclusion. Okay. And that last connective into the conclusion will also be there to help guide that audience that you're coming to an end of this speech. And again, closing remarks need to be tied back to the introduction, and they have to be memorable and lasting. So I don't want any of these little dull endings. Thank you very much. Okay, that's not a good closing. Thank you very much. You're going to go back and look. You can use some of those same attention-getting devices that I gave you for the introduction. You can use them in the conclusion as well. And go into search engines and find some famous quotes or anonymous quotes or something that really ties your speech together. And I'm going to show you a little later in the class of a pretty good closing remarks, what they look like, how it ties back. Okay, any questions at all? Time limit, mostly everybody did get the time limit, and that was good. I want to remind you, look right into that camera as often as you can to connect with your audience. It's very important. As well, practice, practice, practice. Your delivery is going to help you to get rid of some of those nerves, because the more you know about your topic, the more comfortable you feel about talking about that topic, the better your speech will be and the more confidence you'll have in delivering that speech. Now, I see a few people without your cameras on. You have to have your camera on in my class. If you don't turn on your camera, I'm going to kick you out of my class. That is a requirement. Thank you very much. Okay. Any questions about the personal challenge speech? Okay. All right. So let's now get into our discussion today on the steps to speech making. Now, I did have a video there for you from my last class, but I'm going to go over this now. Can you see this application?
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Okay, so the first page says topic, purpose, and central idea. Can everybody see that? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. Okay, so the first thing you want to do in the steps to speech making is choose your topic. That's the first thing we do. And how we do this, we determine it by the occasion, the audience, and the speaker's qualifications. Some sources for topics are what you already know about the topic, what you're interested in and want to learn more about on the topic, and something that you hold some strong opinions and beliefs about. Because if you're not interested, guess what? That's going to come through in your speech, and we're not going to be interested either. Okay, so pick something that you are interested in to talk about. Okay, once you determined your topic, the next thing you do is determine your general purpose. Now, your general purpose is going to be to either inform or to persuade or to entertain. And we're going to find that these entertainment speeches, there's different types. A lot of them come as the special occasion speeches. Okay, but you always have to determine, what is my general purpose? If I'm going to inform someone, I'm going to act as a teacher. I'm going to communicate the information clearly and accurately and interestingly. Okay? You want to enhance the knowledge and understanding of the listeners. Okay? You're enhancing the knowledge and understanding of the listeners. Nothing about your opinions should appear in any informative speeches, because all we're doing is conveying information, right? Just the facts. Now, if you decide that you'd like to give a speech with the general purpose to persuade, you are going to act as an advocate. Okay. The goals are to change attitudes or actions of the audience, right? And to get the listener to believe or do something. So it's either going to be passive, where you're changing their attitudes, or you're trying to actually get them to do something, which would not be as passive. You're acting as an advocate. So yeah, some of that opinion does come in. Some of you take a partisan view when you persuade. In informative speeches, we do not take a partisan view. Okay, we give all sides of the issue about a matter in each case. However, one is just the facts about it. The other one, you're trying to change attitudes, beliefs, or actions. Okay, so once you have your topic and your general purpose, the next step in the steps to speech making is to narrow down and determine the specific purpose. Okay, the main goal for your presentation. Does somebody have a question? Okay. Now, the function of your specific purpose is to give the precise information that the speaker wants the audience to know or believe after the speech is over. Okay, the precise information that the speaker wants the audience to know or believe after the speech is over. That is the purpose of the function of your specific purpose. Okay, you're going to indicate what kind of a response you want from your audience. And to do that, you're going to focus on the clearly defined aspects of the topic. And you're going to express it as a single infinitive phrase that includes your audience. So what does that mean? You're going to start off with your general purpose, well, with the infinitive phrase to. I'm not phrase, just the infinitive word to. T-O, to. And then you're going to add your general purpose: inform, to persuade, to entertain. And then when you're entertaining, you're going to say specifically introduce somebody, accept the speech, something like that. You're going to actually say what it is you're doing. So you always start off with your specific purpose with the infinitive word to, T-O. And the next thing you're going to do is identify the purpose: inform, persuade, or entertain. Right? And then your specific purpose also identifies what you want your listener to understand, believe, or do. Okay. So to inform, and we said it includes the audience, my audience, of 3 reasons why my best friend Molly is my impressive person. Okay. That's going to be your specific purpose. So always start with the infinitive to, followed by the topic, followed by the general purpose, and then what it is you include your audience and what it is you want them to know, understand, believe, or do. Okay. Any questions so far about that? Okay, here's some tips for a good specific purpose. First thing, you want to limit it to one distinct idea. Okay. The specific purpose reveals the single main point of your speech. Second thing you want to do is you want to write your specific purpose as a statement, a declarative statement. No questions. You can't present your specific purpose as a question. Okay. Phrase it as a statement. You might ask yourself a question when deciding on your topic, but when you actually give your specific purpose, it should be a statement. Number 3, you want to avoid being too vague. Okay. Avoid being too vague or general. Be specific when stating the purpose of your speech. Number 4, it should be stated as an infinitive phrase, a single thought that begins with the general purpose. And I gave you those examples earlier, right? And number 5, avoid figurative language. Now, I see some of you are using your English skills and you're speaking in metaphors. This is not something that we do in specific purposes, central ideas, and main points. Why? Because we want to be clear, concise, okay, when we are stating our central ideas and our main points. Okay, Dara, try not to keep putting your hand up to your camera because it's becoming a distraction for me. Okay, thank you. All right. So for your specific purpose, you're going to ask yourself some of these questions. Does the specific purpose meet the assignment? If I tell you to give me an informative speech, don't start persuading us. Can this specific purpose be accomplished effectively in the time allotted to you? Is it relevant to the audience? Is it too trivial or too technical for the audience? These are the things you're going to ask yourself. So slang, no figurative language, no slang, no metaphors. Be clear in what you're saying. Okay, so here's some examples when I talked about limit to one distinct idea and so forth, those skills. So, and a lot of students did this in the beginning. To persuade my audience to become dream mentors and donate to the MCC food bank. This is not good. You're going to have to either write the sentence to persuade my audience to become dream mentors, and that's what we're going to talk about, or are you still seeing me change these slides or no? Can you see it? Okay. Or your specific purpose is going to be to persuade students of 3 reasons to donate to the MCC food bank. But you're not going to say, persuade my audience of 3 reasons why you should become dream mentors and you should donate to the MCC food bank. See how those are 2 distinct ideas? Okay. As an infinitive phrase, wireless dog fence technology. Is that a specific purpose, a good specific purpose? Anybody? No, I see you shaking your head. No, Dara, that's correct. Okay. Why? Because you have to start it with the infinitive to, right? And follow it with what you're going to talk about, your general purpose. Inform, include the audience, and then tell us how to train a dog to stay contained using wireless fence technology. So, as that was written above, that's really just a topic, right? Doesn't tell us very much. So here's an example of not being a question. What is Prescott, Arizona's boot drop? Instead, to inform my audience about the historical evolution of Prescott, Arizona's New Year's Eve boot drop festival. See the difference? A big difference, right? As a speaker, your job is to guide that audience through your ideas without any question of what are you talking about. So avoiding figurative language. To persuade my audience that Netflix's user account restrictions really stink. We wouldn't say that because stink, not figuratively, means it smells, right? You're not talking about that. You're using the word stink as a figurative, in a figurative form. Instead, you might say something like, to persuade my audience that Netflix's user account restrictions are short-sighted restrictions that impact potential ad revenue. Okay. Much different than it stinks. And then finally, you don't want to be too vague or too technical. To persuade my audience that something should be done about MCC student drop-off space. Well, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with this is that it doesn't say what should be done. You have to say what should be done if you're telling somebody to do something. To persuade my audience that a safer, more convenient, and effective space for student drop-offs should be made available on campus. And so you see, it's you, your audience, your context. That all goes into developing that specific purpose statement, which leads you to your central idea. Okay. Now, the central idea is your main message, what you're going to talk about. The definition of your central idea is a concise statement of what the speaker expects to say during the speech. Remember, the specific purpose is what you want your audience to know after the speech. The central idea is what you're getting ready to talk about right now. It's more precise than your topic and your specific purpose. It sums up the speech in one single declarative sentence. Many of you try to make your central ideas in 2 and 3 sentences. That's not going to be acceptable. You have to figure out, how do I say this in one concise sentence? That's why I have you writing your central idea in parts. So you first write it telling us, what's those 3 reasons? What's those 5 reasons? What's those 2 reasons? Whatever, however many main points or reasons you want to talk about. It doesn't have to be reasons. It could be types. Okay. It could be whatever category you want it to be. But whatever it is, it has to be stated in a single declarative sentence. Okay. Now, you might refer to this in English as your thesis statement. Okay. Same, similar thing. But again, you can't write in metaphors. Okay. I had a student saying some things. I mean, it was really clever what you were saying. It was about patience is silent or something like that. But it really is a metaphor or similes. But you cannot state your central idea in that manner using figurative language, because everybody might not know what you're talking about. Everybody might not understand the metaphor or the point that you're trying to make that way. So you have to be mindful not to do that in the most central, important part of your speech, letting the audience know what the message is. You want to be clear on that. Okay. Now, your central idea usually encapsulates the main points to be developed in the body of the speech. You don't always have to say them out, but I ask you to say them out in the beginning in your written central idea so that you are better able to now take those deliberate things and put it in a more conversational tone that your audience will be able to understand. Now, this central idea is what the speaker wants the audience to remember when they have forgotten everything else about the speech. It reveals more about the content of the speech than the specific purpose does. And your central idea usually crystallizes late in the process. Okay, because just like I was telling you last time about, you're probably not going to use all the main points, all the information that you gather in your research. You probably won't use all of that information. So once you have everything down, now your central idea may change some now, because you know specifically everything you want to say. What are your 3 months? You know it now. It's clear to you. And now you have to make that clear to your audience. Okay, so let's just take a look at some examples. Specific purpose and central ideas are connected, but they are not the same. Okay, as I told you, the specific purpose is what you want to say the audience to know at the end of the speech, and the central idea is what you're getting ready to talk about right now. And there's two examples here, and this is also in your Blackboard, so you can go back to this and refer to it again if you need to. Okay. For the criteria for your central idea, number one, it must be written in a complete sentence. A full, possibly complex, complete sentence with proper punctuation. It must be a declarative statement. Again, you might ask yourself questions, but when you are finally putting together that central idea, it needs to be in a declarative sentence. You want to avoid being too vague and too technical, just like in your specific purpose. You want to capture the major idea of the speech. Okay? Express each main point. When done correctly, you practically write the preview of the body of your speech. And then finally, again, avoid figurative language, no slang, and no clever metaphors in your central idea, in your specific purpose. Okay. And again, I have examples here. You can go back and look at these examples if you like later. Okay, any questions? Any questions? No questions? All right. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in a group and we're going to try this out. Yes, Rose, I'm sorry.
Yes, it's okay. Is it a bad idea to tell the audience exactly the subject that you are going to talk in your speech, just like at the beginning to tell them exactly the title of your speech?
The title?
Not title, but the main subject, what you're gonna
Okay, that's going to be done in your central idea. That's the purpose of your central idea.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that's when you're going to say it. But now I did tell you all, and I'm going to put this up here for you to recall. Okay. There is a template. Can everybody see the template? It's green and black writing. Okay. So look at all this stuff we need to put in the introduction. And a lot of you just say, hi, my name's Rose, and I'm going to tell you about my oppressive person. And then you started telling me, right? No, you have to start with an attention getting material, some type of attention getting material. And in here, it tells you what it is. And remember, I gave you a lot of different methods you can use as attention getting devices. Telling a story, a joke, giving statistics, anecdotes, okay? Lots of different things, examples that you can do that gains your audience attention, perks them up. I had a student once give a speech about how terrible cigarette smoke is for your lungs. And she came in with a visual of a bunch of cigarette butts in a baby food jar with water in it, and you could see all the terrible looking things, and she kind of analyzed, gave you an analytical thought about it. This is what your lungs look like. And so you're looking at this, oh, what's she getting ready to talk about? Well, you might give a famous quote that relates to your subject. Then you reveal your topic. You give us the central idea, you establish goodwill and credibility, and then you preview those three main points. Now, in that first working outline, some of you may have been confused because of how the written outline, how the written central idea was presented. Okay, so it kind of like maybe confused you about the three parts of the speech. So I want you to go back and look at that outline again, because I did change it some. As well, you're going to see in the outline that you're going to look to this week, in week 3, about the impressive person. It's more the preparation outline. So let me share with you. And you're going to say, oh, okay, Professor. Okay, so when we talked about Molly, three reasons why Molly's my best friend, right? The central idea written really is actually giving those three main points you want to talk about. If it's 3, we're going to talk about main points again next week. You're going to find that it's 2 to 5 main points, no less than 2, no more than 5 in a speech. So we picked 3 because it's kind of right in the middle. But you don't have to have 3. You could have 2 to 5. All right. And you see here, my best friend Molly is my impressive person because she overcame obstacles such as the death of her sister. Ooh, see it there? Down here in your main points in your body of the speech? Being bullied. Oh, here it is, right down there. Second main point we're going to talk about. And then finally being diagnosed with epilepsy while away at college as a freshman student. Now we take those 3 main points and we put it in a more conversational tone. Okay? What you learn from this? Well, my best friend Molly has taught me that no matter what life throws at me, you get back up and become stronger because of it. Now, this is not the best one because there is a kind of figurative, what life throws at me, right? You want to be a little bit clearer in what you're saying there. Now, most people probably can get what you're saying, but again, your job, your responsibility as the speaker is to carefully guide that audience through your ideas where there's no confusion about what you're talking about. Okay. All right. And again, a lot of you just substitute, not a lot, but some of you did just substitute some to the point where you actually wrote preview your message with central idea statement. I love that there purposefully to see who is going to actually write that. And some students actually wrote that. And every semester, students write that. But of course, you wouldn't write that in yours, right? You would actually tell us what your central idea. Okay, so be mindful. Don't just take these samples and try to substitute your words in there, because it's not going to be a good outcome for you. You're not going to get a good grade. I'm not going to give you a good grade. I've seen this 1,000 times, right? Okay. All right. So I'm going to put you in groups. I'm going to bring you back at about, I'm going to give you like maybe 10 minutes. Okay, I'll bring you back around 8 o'clock. And I'm going to give you 3 topics. Okay? So write this down. First topic is Liberty Science Center, Jersey City, New Jersey. Second topic, how a bill gets through Congress. Third, political lobbying. LOBBYING. Political lobbying. All right, let's see how many people we have. 1, 2.
Could you please repeat the second one for me?
How a bill gets through Congress.
Thank you.
You're welcome. 6, 7, 13. Yes, Darryl. You're muted.
Hey, Professor. Sorry, I'm using my phone because my computer doesn't have a camera, but yeah, I apologize. But my question is, using the like for after the central idea and then doing the body points. I know I recognize you said that we can't use like storytelling, but does storytelling kind of like play a factor into like this certain
The
idea?
storytelling could be a attention getting device that you use. But it has to be brief, like it can't be very long.
Okay.
And we also refer to it as narrative. It's like narrative or some testimony, something like that.
So basically just brief, but not too much of it in a way.
Right.
Okay.
You can also use stories within as showing an example of something. You could like say a little story, but don't make your whole speech a story, like starting out, okay, so today I'm going to tell you about my friend Molly, and she's a really good friend of mine, and the reason why she's because when we grew up we did this and we did that, and then when we went to high school we did this and we did that, and then after that we went to separate colleges, but later on we found each other, and she got married and I didn't, and we both had 2 boys apiece, and this is just an ongoing story of your friendship with someone. That's not a speech, right?
Mm.
So you have to be mindful not to get caught up in a story.
Okay.
Speech is not a story.
Basically, like
you're gonna see it. You're really gonna see it.
Okay.
All right. But we can talk about it some more. We'll talk about that some more. But right now, I want you to get in your groups, and I want you to write a specific purpose and a central idea, okay, for these topics that I gave you. Okay.
Professor, can you repeat number 1, please?
Number 1 was Liberty Science Center.
Okay.
In Jersey City.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So let me put you in your groups. 3, 3, 3, and one group has 4. Okay, so I'm gonna put you in your groups. These are the 3 topics. I want you to create a specific purpose and a central idea. Okay. And as a group, I want you to decide, on one topic as a group. Pick one topic you're going to talk about. Okay. Any questions? All right.
But
I would say I'm not sure, do we have to like explain how to build a bill gets through Congress or just like create a specific like idea of what to tell the
So
audience?
first thing I would do if you're going to do the bill, first thing I would do was Google, how is this done? Right?
okay, yeah. That would
So
make
once you
most
Google
sense.
that, and then
Yeah,
you
okay.
see, as soon as you Google that, it's like a lot of things gonna come up. Okay,
Okay.
how it's done, what it is. So now you can narrow it down, right?
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about
Yeah.
3 steps or the 4 steps of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right. Thank you so much,
that's how
Professor.
you would approach that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You don't need to develop the main points, but you gotta some way know something about the main points in order to create your central idea, right?
Right. Absolutely. Okay. Well,
Really just explaining explaining what it is, but keeping it concise and
Okay.
um
Do you know if anywhere she left like the presentation?
yeah, it should be in Blackboard
What you looking for
under
now?
oh we were just looking for the criteria for the central idea and specific purpose you put in the slideshow. What that's it's under week 2 PowerPoint, right? Or is it
Right,
week 3?
right.
Okay.
Week 2 PowerPoint. And it talked about one distinct idea, right?
Yeah.
It also talked about no figurative language, that it must be not too broad and not too vague, right? Not too general, right? Okay, those are the things. So did you together decide on a topic?
I
What's
believe
your
so.
topic?
Yes.
We did the Liberty Science Center.
Okay. Now, first thing I would do would be Google Liberty Science Center in New Jersey City, right?
Yeah.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Okay. So, what you gonna tell us about it?
I could be wrong, but I think the specific purpose, like when talking about the Liberty Science Center, would be to inform my audience about the history, exhibits, and educational impacts that the Liberty Science Center has. I don't know. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
However, you've been a little bit too specific in the specific purpose.
Okay.
So in the specific purpose, you're right. You start with the infinitive to, what type of speech you're going to give, right? Include the audience. But now you don't have to be that detailed of those three things you're going to talk about, right? You would then say, 3 reasons, or what were the things you were going to talk about? Tell me again.
History, exhibits, educational impact.
Okay. So you're going to talk about 3 important impacts that you can learn from going to the Liberty Science Center. Okay?
Oh,
Or my audience. See how that is?
so you're
Really
saying
tell
it's
us what those things were. You just
okay.
said, basically, what do you want me to know after the end of the speech? Well, I want you to know, all these things you can learn when you go to the Science Liberty Center, the Liberty Science Center. Okay. Now, for your central idea, now that's going to actually include, or incorporate is a better word, because you don't have to specifically say all 3 of those things. Remember the sample I put up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In the spoken central idea, you didn't actually verbatim say those 3 things, right? But you summed it all up about what you were going to say. So let's look here. Okay, so in the first written sentence, can you see this now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your first written, the central written idea says, she's my president because she overcame obstacles. That's the main thing, right? That's really the main thing in this, how somebody overcame obstacles, such as the death of her sister, being bullied, and being diagnosed with epilepsy while she was in school. That's basically those 3 main points we're going to talk about, right?
Okay.
However, when we change it into the spoken, look at how we changed it. My best friend Molly has taught me that no matter what life throws at you, we said that's not the best, but we kind of do know what we're talking about there, right? No matter what obstacles you face, that might be a better way to say it, right? In life, you can always overcome them to become a stronger person. You see how that kind of really does encapsulate those 3 things, right? Do you see that or no?
Yeah.
Yes.
See that connection?
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
So in this specific purpose, do you even have to say 3 reasons? Can you just say to inform my audience about the Liberty Science
Never want to
Center?
say about. It's too
Or
broad
yeah.
now. It's too vague. What about it?
Could I say something along the lines of like to inform my audience about how the Liberty Science Center educates visitors through interactive exhibits and programs? Is that better?
No, because you're telling us too much. What do you want us to know at the end? You see, I have here to inform my audience of 3 reasons why Molly is my best friend. So What's your 3 points you're talking about here? Tell me them again. Your 3 points here.
It was like history,
exhibition,
and educational impact.
Okay, and I gave you it. I said that you were going to talk about the impacts to inform my audience of the impacts, important impacts you can be affected by going to the Liberty Science Center or something like that, right? See the difference?
Yeah.
Now, in your central idea, you're going to be very concise about what it is you're going to talk about. You're going to talk about, what's your 3 things? The history, right? What else?
the exhibit,
Okay, so
and
one reason why you had a little problem is because you're trying to talk about more than one thing, more than one idea. If you stay with what you're going to learn from the center, right? Don't get too caught up. Understand exactly what do you want us to know at the end? What do you want us to know? You want us to know all the things you can learn at the Science Center, right?
Yeah.
Basically, at the end of this speech, you're gonna know what you're gonna get out of going to the center, the Science Center, right? That's your specific purpose. Now, your central idea is going to be what we're going to talk about. Okay, we're going to talk about the historical aspects that give us educational knowledge and understanding. And what was that other thing you talked about?
Entertainment.
Okay. Don't make it 3 separate things. This and that. No. You're going to give us, what are we going to learn? What are we going to learn after we come from the Science Center? What are we going to learn?
We learned that it's like a dynamic hub for science education.
Okay. What else you going to learn?
Offers hands-on exhibits and programs that inspire all learners.
Okay. And what else?
It's in Jersey City.
Okay. All right. Now, I don't know if that's 1 point, how much that relates to your specific purpose. Because the specific purpose was telling us all about what we're going to learn, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's like engaging with other, like the community, and bringing a partnership with learning about Liberty Science Center.
That, say again now?
It's engaging with everyone at the Liberty Science Center.
Engaging with other people to learn about science. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, so, but I'm going to have to go now because I got 2 more people to talk to, and we have to come back and talk about it, okay?
Okay. Thank
you. All right. I think you got the idea, right?
Yeah.
And then we're going to hear what other people had to say as well. I'll be back to you in a minute.
So it's basically like the specific purpose. You mentioned like one thing in the central idea. You can mention multiple.
Say again?
Yeah.
So you need to understand the definitions. Okay? The definition of a specific purpose is what you want the audience to know when the speech is over. Okay? The central idea is what you're getting ready to talk about.
Okay.
What you expect to say during the speech. Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, write those specific purposes. So I'm gonna get ready to come back soon.
I
Are you good? You ready to come back now?
yeah.
All right. You got any questions for me?
No.
I
Thank
had
you.
a question for the speech, like the impressive person speech. So when you say like we don't like just change around the words,
Okay,
I
wait. Ask me that in the big group, okay?
okay.
Right now, we're just talking about this, and I gotta go talk to another group and bring you back. So we're running out of time. But I will answer that question in front of everybody, okay?
Okay.
Other people might be able to benefit from it.
I have the idea to put it together to explain it.
It makes sense though.
How you doing? How you doing? Okay? You ready to come back?
We're a bit confused, but I think we figured it
Okay,
out.
well, tell me about your confusion. Maybe I can help you.
So the idea is that we're supposed to pick one of the three options, and then we're supposed to find a specific purpose and a central idea for it, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so if we chose how a bill gets through Congress, and then our specific purpose was informing about the legislative process, then the central idea would be
Okay, so
all the steps?
yes.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What the steps are.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think we're done.
And then I'm going to tell you something else, because when you said, "Oh, about," you can't just say, "Oh, I'm going to tell you about this. I'm going to tell you about that." You got to tell us what about that.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you how a bill. What are the steps to make a bill?
So, like, laws are essential, they govern our society, and bills are really important. Here's some information about it instead of just like, this is
No, instead of saying to inform my audience about a bill, what about the bill? You don't want to be too broad or too vague, right? That's what I was saying.
so how they get through Congress.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay. Bring everybody back. Oh, man. Tanya, is Tanya or Tania?
Tanya.
Tanya, okay. Okay, group one. Jack, Malika,
Yes.
and Unita. Okay, who's your speaker? You got your speaker, right?
Yeah, I'll be speaking. The topic our group decided on was the Liberty Science Center, and what I wrote for our specific purpose is to inform the audience of what they can gain from visiting the Liberty Science Center. That was our specific purpose. And then for central idea, I said the Liberty Science
What
Center,
you
science,
said
what
to
to
inform
in
your audience.
on what they can gain from visiting the science. Is that still too vague or?
Um, okay, so you kind of moving in the realm of persuasion. So you have to be careful with this in the way that you present it.
Is it because I said gain? What they can
Yeah,
gain?
what you can gain.
Okay, I understand. I understand.
Remember, informative speech, just the facts.
Yeah. All right. And then for our central idea, we agreed on something along the lines of the Liberty Science Center offers hands-on exhibits, interactive learning, and inspiring scientific experiences that leave a lasting impact.
There you go. Okay, good. That's very good. That's very good. It does match. And you did stick with one idea. Okay. You see how you were struggling with trying to present those other three ideas
Yeah.
there? Okay. Good job. All right. Group 2. Daniel, Hal, and Veronica.
I'll be speaking for our group. So, for our specific purpose, we said to inform the public on how a bill gets passed through Congress and made a law.
To inform Congress.
To inform the public on how a bill gets passed through Congress.
Passed through Congress. Okay. Okay. Now, that's good. But I would even go further to say if it's steps, I would say the 7 steps to making a bill. There's 7 steps to making a bill to Congress. Okay. That's, you see how that's gonna now get the listener to, okay, it's 7 things I need to know about this. See how you're guiding the audience, helping them to remember. If you merely just say, I'm going to tell you how to make a bill, okay, or how this works, it's a lot different than saying there's 7 steps you need to know to do this.
Okay. So be more specific.
Right. The
Got it.
specific
Okay.
purpose. So I know sometimes students get it confused with what the first group was trying to do, give us a whole lot of detail about what they were going to talk about, as opposed to being just specific about what you're saying, what you're going to talk about.
Okay.
It's a difference there. Does everybody see that? That's difference? Okay. All right. What is your central idea?
Our central idea was understanding how a bill gets passed through Congress helps the public stay engaged in the voting process by showing how laws are made or denied and allowing voters to better evaluate the roles of candidates.
Okay, that was a mouthful. Tell me that again.
Okay. Understanding how a bill gets passed through Congress helps the public stay engaged in the voting process by showing how laws are made or denied and allowing voters to better evaluate the roles of candidates.
Okay. All right. I think you might be giving a little bit more when you're saying by showing them how to do X, Y, and Z. But you're on the right track there. You're on the right track. Good. All right. Group 3, Dara, Riti. Did I say that right? Riti?
Yeah.
Okay. If it's not, tell me. Now, I'm noticing that a lot of people have your face cut off. I can't see your mouth. I can't. No, you gotta. Yeah, yeah. I want to see those beautiful faces. Okay. And it also helps us because when you cut the face off, it's a distraction for the audience. Now they're not listening to you, they're looking at you. All right. Let's go.
I'll talk here. Well, first thing we came up with on the hold on a second. The United States how a bill goes through Congress. So the purpose of it was to explain the steps a bill goes through to become a law in the United States Congress.
Okay. And then what is your central idea?
The central idea is a bill becomes a law through a multi-step process in Congress, including the introduction, committee review, debate, voting, and presidential approval.
Okay. All right. So I would even say the number of steps if I were going to give that speech. But yeah, that's good. You did include those things, and now your main points are going to be those things you said to include this, and this. Those are things you're going to talk about, right? The president's approval, the committee review, Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right, now, and make certain that you know what's the position of your camera because you're talking to us sideways.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Hold on one sec.
All right, good. Yep. Yeah, see, all these types of things become distractions when you're speaking.
Yeah.
And once the audience is distracted, they're no longer listening to your message. You know that, right?
Yeah, I apologize. I gotta get a camera on my computer.
All right, it's okay. This is the learning environment for us. Okay. All right, and then the last group, Brady, Jennifer, and Rose.
I can speak for us. So our group decided on how a bill gets through Congress. Our specific purpose was to inform about this legislative process in the U.S., specifically the steps of a bill getting through Congress to become a law. And then...
Okay, so stop right there because you gave us a mouthful, right? Okay, the end probably is what you really wanted to say, okay? Because the beginning was too vague to inform my audience about how a bill's done.
Specifically the steps of how a bill gets through Congress?
Okay. To inform my audience of the steps involved to getting a bill through Congress. See the difference?
Yeah, inform about legislative
Instead of
process
saying
in
all
the
what you
US.
said first and then specifically
Specifically the steps.
Right. You don't want to do all that. Just say to inform my audience of however many steps it is or whatever it is that you're going to do involved in.
Okay, so inform about the steps of a bill getting through Congress to become a law. Is that still too long?
To say again?
Inform about the steps of a bill getting through Congress to become a law.
Okay. So now remember, I wanted you to include your audience, right? To inform my audience of the steps involved to create a bill or get a bill through Congress. That's what you want to tell us, right?
Okay.
Well, you tell me.
You said that's what I said, but then you said that was too long.
Well, you had a whole lot of other stuff you said in the beginning before you got to that.
Inform about legislative process in the U.S., comma, specifically the steps of a bill getting through Congress.
Yeah, see, you don't need all of that. You could just say to inform my audience of the steps required to get a bill through Congress.
Okay, so to inform Okay, my audience, to
Inform
inform my audience
of the steps
of the steps of a bill getting through Congress.
involved to get a bill through Congress.
Okay.
Yeah. See, you're speaking like you're writing.
I wrote this down to read it out. I don't know how else to speak. Sorry. Do I tell you the general idea now?
That doesn't match what I was saying. What your response does not match what I was saying. Okay. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you have to be concise in what you're saying. Okay. You don't want a whole lot of words. You said specifically, comma, this, and that, but it should be brief. It should be clear. Some of the words you don't need there. It's not a sentence. A specific purpose is not a sentence. It's an infinitive phrase. Now your central idea is a sentence. So tell me your central idea.
Hold on, I'm writing down infinitive phrase. I don't know that term.
Okay, well,
focus on the 7 steps required for legislation to be passed.
2 people can't talk at once.
That's why I stopped. Oh my God.
Well, since I'm the teacher and I'm teaching you, right? I'm giving you information because I don't have how many people in this class took a speaking class before? Anybody? Okay. Tell me your central idea.
Focus on the 7 steps required for legislation to be passed.
So your central idea is focus on the, say it again. Focus
on the 7 steps required for legislation to be passed.
What are the 7 steps?
Introduction, referral, markup and amendments, debating on the floor, voting, the other chamber, and then the conference committee before it goes to the president.
Okay. So you want to tell us more about what are the steps? Identify the steps. Now, because you have 7 of them, that's a lot for 7 main points. So you will have to figure out, how do I lump some of those together in order to narrow it down some so that the audience not bogged down too much with this. Okay. It's this, don't feel like, Jen, if I give you some constructive criticism, it's not to say you're wrong, it's to give you a better understanding of what it has to be.
No, I appreciate criticism. I'm just genuinely very confused. I'm sorry, I'm a bit slow. I'm trying my best.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Okay, so we only have a few more minutes. You can go back and look at this tape again because all classes will be taped. You can look at them again. And if it's still not clear to you, let me know and we'll talk after class or we'll have another meeting outside of class. Okay. All right. Now, I wanted to go into, good job, everybody. I wanted to go into your impressive person speech, because next week okay, next class, June 9th. you're going to actually present the introduction to your impressive person speech. Okay. And this is the assignment here. Can everybody see the Blackboard modules? Just give me a thumbs up if you could see. Okay. In week 3, I have an impressive person preparation outline. Okay. Can everybody see this sample student example? Okay. All right, so I want you to look at this student example for your example for your impressive person speech. And it's pretty clear about what we were talking about today, where that written central idea incorporates the 3 main points that you're going to talk about. And then the spoken central idea gives it a more conversational tone. Now, you don't always have to change it. If you can't change it, it's okay from the written to the spoken. It's okay. All right. Now, this impressive person speech is really your informative speech without research. So you see how we're progressing forward? The next speech that you give is going to be your informative speech, and then that's where you're going to have your research. And you're going to be delivering this extemporaneous type speech. Now remember, that introduction has parts to it. So I want you to also print out that template that tells you all the different sections that are involved in each part of your speech. So what are you going to have next week? What are you going to present? That introduction to your impressive speech, you're going to have, first off, attention getting, right? Attention getting. Then you're going to reveal your topic. You're going to actually write down what is that central idea and include a statement of credibility and goodwill. Why should we believe you? Well, I've been studying this matter for 10 years. Okay, I've done lots of research on it, or somebody else who is an expert in the field has done lots of You have to in some way tell us, why should we listen to you? Why should we believe what you're saying? And then finally, you're going to preview your main points. Any question about your assignment next week in class? So at least that introduction should be ready to go next week. So make sure you look at the student example. Make sure you look at the template before you actually write your speech. Let me stop sharing so I can look at everybody. Okay. All right, so we're to the end of our class. But are there any questions? Somebody had a question for me in the group. I think it was you, Ritty.
I figured it out. That's okay.
Okay. Well, you sure you don't want to share with everybody because somebody else might be able to benefit from it? Okay. All right. So there being no more questions, have a wonderful week and I will see you next week. And if you do think of questions, you can always email me and we'll try to get that information to you as soon as possible.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you.
You too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. Have a good week.
Thank you so much. I
Bye.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Somebody had a question for me?
Yeah, Professor, I do apologize. Just a really brief, quick question, but it's nothing to do with the class material, but for some reason, I go into put the grades for the course. It says I have zeros from like 2023 and 2024. That was content.
Some of those things don't have deadlines. So it's not like it didn't even come up yet for you to do it. So it's the reason why it's saying those dates is because that's when it was created.
Okay.
But it's not something that, don't worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, because you haven't even done it yet, right? Some of
Yeah.
that stuff that has that on there, you didn't even come to it yet.
Yeah. And I just one more thing. I see I have a zero. I mean, I don't know if it's something to be discussed later, but I have a zero still on the. I think we talked about the discussion board personal challenge speech for that.
I didn't grade it yet.
Oh, you didn't grade it yet. Oh, okay, that makes sense. All right. I'm sorry.
So that's why you'll see zeros. If I didn't grade it yet, if there's no, you don't see anything from me, that means I didn't grade it yet.
Okay. All right. That's no worries.
For the chapter 2 quiz, we cannot see the answers, which one is correct or which one is incorrect.
You get 2 chances to take it, which is the reason why you can't see what's correct and not incorrect.
Yeah, because I want to see which one I got wrong. And we cannot see after.
But you get 2 chances. So you're not going to be, if you took it one time, did you take it one time?
Oh, no, I don't know. I think it says 2 times.
And you still can't see it?
Yeah, I think this is why I cannot see it.
You still can't see it after doing it twice? See, if you just did it one time, it's not going to show you because you get 2 top chances to take the test. So
Yeah,
if you have 2 chances, I can't tell you the answers, and then now you take text the second time. Now you got the answer.
It says 2, but I cannot open anymore. I don't think I can do because it says it's
Well, let me check it out for you and get back to you on that. What problem you have? Send me an email. Tell me specifically what is your problem.
okay.
Take a screenshot so I can see it.
Okay.
And then we'll try to figure it out why it's not opening up.
Okay, Professor. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Professor. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Professor, I do apologize. I just have one
You
more
guys
thing.
don't
I'm
have to
so sorry.
apologize. It's good. It's no problem. You have to apologize.
Okay, thank you so much. I just wanted to let you know that I had some difficulties with my camera, like the first 10 or 15 minutes, but I was able to listen and I finally got my camera to come on. And I hope it's not an issue with my attendance or anything like
No,
that.
it's not. I mean, if you
Okay,
have
I'm
a
so
problem,
sorry.
That's okay if you have
I'll
a
make sure
problem.
that it's corrected for next class.
Okay.
I'm new to this and I do
It's
apologize,
okay.
but
It's
I figured
okay.
it out. So thank you.
Yeah, but some students just want to be off camera. So that
I
really is for the
understand.
students who just want to be off camera.
I understand. No, thank you. And I do apologize for that. And I'll make sure it's correct next time. Thank you so much, Professor. Thank you.
Have a good night.
I hope you have a good night. Take care. I'll see you next week. Enjoy your week. Okay,
Yes,
thank
I'm gonna
you.
try.
Take care. Me too. Thank you. Take care.
Wait
Bye-bye.
a minute. In your background, is that a dollhouse?
Yes, it's my daughter. She's 7, so it's her.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get it in the screen.
Oh, no problem. It's
My
cute. I was
quiet
looking at
room.
it and I was wondering, is that a life-size doll?
Yeah, it's her dollhouse. Yeah, she's my only daughter. So, yeah. But thank you so much, Professor. Thank you. And I look forward to your class. I'm really enjoying it. So thank you
Good.
so
I'm glad. I'm
much.
glad. I'm glad. I want this
Yeah.
to be a fun class. I don't want people to
Yeah.
feel intimidated.
This is my second semester at Mercer, and you've made this very enjoyable for me. So thank you
Okay.
so much.
Good, good, good. All righty.
Well, thank you,
Take
Professor. I'll
care.
see you next week. Take
Okay.
care.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.